Hello, beautiful people. How are you today? Happy Sunday. Good to see you all live. I guess we are set up now. I'll give it a few minutes for those who may find me and join live. And if you do join live, please say hi, say who you are and where you're from. I'm always happy to meet new people and, of course, those who I know already and with whom I'm working together. And if you catch this video on a replay, please hashtag replay and let me know who you are and where you're from. I always read your comments and I'm happy to receive feedback. I know that these videos are extremely beneficial for many of you, so I know you do watch them, which is why I continue doing these sessions. And if that's your first time that you see me live or that you find this video on my YouTube channel, on Instagram or on Facebook, my name is Natalia. I am an inner mastery and consciousness mentor. And today I'll talk to you about the transition that many of us are facing and undergoing. And that is the transition from the human mind to the supreme consciousness or the divine mind or the master consciousness, whichever way you want to call it, and which is not something unattainable, and which is not something esoteric, which is not something spiritual, which is the living reality for every human being. And the reason why I'm talking to you about that is first to make you understand that it is your reality, that supreme consciousness, it is your reality, and it's already in you. It's just that you function in a different mode. Yeah, you function in your mind. And as long as you function in your mind and you are not aware of that deeper dimension of consciousness, and I'm using the word deeper because in this sense deeper and higher is the same. Yeah, so there is no such thing as higher consciousness or lower consciousness. There is just the supreme consciousness or the mastermind or the divine mind or the mind of the source or the mind of God, whichever way you want to call it. And there is your mind, the human mind. So fundamentally, there are two things only. And you can either function in your mind or you can shift to function in the higher dimension of reality, and that is the divine mind. So the leaders, the conscious and aware leaders, and those who are called to be the leaders of this new phase of human evolution, and if you're watching this video, you're probably one of them. They are faced with a challenge because it is a challenge to shift beyond their human mind. Now, what is the human mind? When I'm talking about the human mind, I'm not referring to the brain, the physical organ. I'm talking about your state of consciousness. So the human condition, it's another word that is called the human mind. And essentially, the way that it works, the human mind, it works only based on the past memory. So the human mind, since the day you were born, collects all the experiences through your five senses. So you start experiencing life with all your five senses, with everything that you go through, and that records in your energetics, and that records in your memory, and that forms the human mind. So essentially, you are living in a certain kind of structure that is created based on your experiences, that is called the human mind. And it's very difficult to expand the boundaries of that, because you think that your view of the world or your version of the world is what it is, and the reality is different. The reality is not is the same for everyone. Yeah, but the thing is, because you see the reality from your past, you project all the time the past on the reality. You do not see the reality as it is. You see it as you are, or you see it according to your past memory. Now, is that clear? Am I making myself clear? Because these are the high level energetic transmissions, these lives, which is why sometimes it can be difficult to follow. So I repeat again, because it can slip your mind if you're listening with your mind, that you do not see the reality as it is. You see the reality based on the projections and based on past memory that you have in your mind. So whatever it is, whatever you believe in, whatever you experienced, whatever happened, and most of that is subconscious, so you cannot even see that. That all imposes itself on the reality. The reality is the supreme consciousness that you are. That is all an imposition on the reality. And that imposition prevents you from seeing the reality and prevents you from expanding beyond what you already know. Now, that is not something that can be understood with your mind. And the reason why we do the work that we do is to go beyond your mind. Now, some people understand that consciousness is awareness of the senses or mindfulness. Consciousness is not that. Awareness of the senses, of the sensory perception and on the sensory objects, is simply your mind watching everything, and that is only the first step of consciousness, of awakening of consciousness or developing of consciousness. The consciousness that I'm talking about is the reality behind your brain, the reality behind your awareness. Now, to get to that reality and to see that reality, you cannot see that with sensory objects. It's not something that you see like you see a tree in front of you. For that, you need a higher degree of perception. You need to go deeper within you. That's where the master consciousness is. So the master consciousness is not something out there separate from you. It is your fundamental reality. It's your fundamental reality, and the only way that you can live this reality is when you turn from the sensory perceptions deeper inward and discover the deeper dimension of yourself. And that is the work that we are doing together. And it's very simple, but it's really not easy, because to transcend your mind, it does take time. It's not a one day work. It does take time, because to able to see things clearly, because that is what happens when you work, when your brain works with the supreme consciousness. So what happens? Now, I'm telling you, I'm a living example of that. So I'm not sharing with you any esoteric teachings. I'm not sharing with you anything that I read in the book. I'm sharing with you my living experience. So what is my living experience? First, it's clarity. Clarity. Yeah, the clarity that comes when you shift from operating in your mind to the deeper dimension of consciousness, which is your consciousness as well, because that's in you as well. It's not exclusive to me or anyone. It's exclusive. It functions. It is a possibility for every human being. So the first thing that happens is clarity. You have a crystal clear clarity of seeing things as they are. That's the first thing that happens, and it changes the way how you live in your life, because we are used to believe and not only believe, we were conditioned by the way that we live and by the way the world is, that we need to think about things. Yeah, because as long as you function in your mind, in your human mind, you will need to think about things. You will need to think about things. So when you need to think about things, there is always, you cannot see something clearly, because there will always be a distance. A thought is a distance. Yeah? A thought is a distance between you and object. So your mind, your human mind, functions only in time, in the dimension of time. And the dimension of time means distance, always, always distance, which is why everyone believes that thinking is what it is required, because everyone functions in the dimension of time. Now, the master consciousness or the supreme consciousness functions beyond time, which is why there is no need to think about things. You have to understand that thinking is not intelligent, is not a sign of intelligence, because thinking is the distance. Now, in the high state of consciousness, the supreme consciousness, you look into the object and you know what you need to know. So you get the direct information, because there is no distance. That is how I work. I know how my clients are feeling. I know what is going on for them. I know what they need. Why? Because there is no distance between me and them. We function in the dimension of no time. And if you function in the dimension of no time, everything happens instantaneously. Yeah, it's a very fast pace intelligence, which is not the human mind. The human mind cannot be compared with that supreme intelligence that is your possibility. Now, that intelligence functions at a certain state of energy, because the consciousness, as you may know, of course, consciousness, your state of consciousness is defined by your energy, right? So the higher is your energy, the more refined is the quality of your energy, the more you will be able to function in that deeper or higher dimension of consciousness, that is the supreme consciousness, the original consciousness. There is no such thing as Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness or anyone's consciousness. There is just one consciousness, one master consciousness or supreme consciousness, and that is your consciousness, because that is inside you. That is fundamentally what you are. And that is something that needs to become living reality. So there are two things in operation here. One is the shift from the divine mind, from the human mind into the divine mind or the master consciousness. And the second is to shift from the energy that you operate daily in your mind, because your mind is also energy, right? Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions are all energy. Then we shift into the different state of energy, and that is the energy of the source. Yeah, the same. So the divine mind, the divine energy, or the energy of the source, they come together. Yeah, they are not separated. They are the two things that are happening when you transcendent the dimension of your mind. So, and once your brain works with that intelligence, with that divine higher intelligence or supreme consciousness, and once your body works with the energy of the source, which is the divine energy, then your capacity as a human being enhance. So if you're someone who is a leader, if you're someone who works in any transformational field with helping other human beings, your impact and power will grow tremendously, because you will be an embodiment of your highest possibility. Yeah, not just thinking. See, if you are thinking that you are conscious, if you are thinking that you are embodied, if you are thinking that you are spiritual, that's all nonsense, because nothing is true what you think. Can you hear me, please? Whatever you think is not true whatsoever it is. I know it may be hard to hear for some of you, but whatever you think is not true. Does not have any truth in that. So the only way that you become, or not even become, I don't want to use the word, because if I use the word become, that would mean that I'm sending you into the future, where reality is that the master consciousness is available to you now. It's like the golden key that is there, and that needs to be unlocked. You need to hear about that. You need to realize that, and then gradually to embody that. And whatever you embody, that is your reality. Whatever you embody, that's your living reality. Nothing else. I see a lot of spiritual people say, like, talking BS, but that's because they are still in the mind. They are still in the mind, thinking about them being spiritual. It's not how it works. You do not need to be spiritual. You need to be yourself. That is when you are spiritual. And what does it mean to be yourself? It means to return to your original state, where you function as you were designed to function. You function, your brain functions with the supreme intelligence or master consciousness or supreme consciousness, and your body functions with the energy of the source, which are both the same, two parts of the same consciousness. So I invite you all to experience that, to realize that state within you, and we will do that together at the intensive on the 28th of February, which is called Returning to the Source. And we will where I will guide you specifically to realize that place within you, and then to show you, to we go deeper into what I discussed today. We go deeper into the subject of the divine mind and the energy of the source, and we will see how to make that a living reality for you. So you start shifting already now, that you start moving away from your mind, because if you are living in your mind, you will miss a lot of things in your life, and you will always limit opportunities and limit the expansion that you long for, because expansion that you long for only comes from expansion of consciousness. Expansion is not your belief. Expansion is not an idea you think about. Expansion is not having more things, making more money, creating more business, meeting a partner, getting bigger house. That's not really the expansion that you long for. These are all fine, these things. These are part of life. But the expansion that you truly long for is an expansion of consciousness. And that will only happen when you return to your natural original state and be an embodiment of your highest potential, and that is embodying the supreme consciousness as your daily living reality. So I invite you to do that with me together at this intensive. Please send me a message if you would love to attend it, or I'll drop the link underneath this video for more information about the intensive. And I look forward to seeing you there. Please do join, because I know that this is something that is gonna shift you tremendously. I know the power of my work, because my work is not done by me. My work is done by the source, which is why I know the values that it has, and I know the impact that it has. So if you are someone who wants to work with me one-to-one, I have spaces available for private mentorship. So send me a message. I would love to meet you and have a chat with you about that. So I wish everyone a wonderful day. Enjoy whatever you are doing today. And if you find this video on a replay, please feel free to share and make it available for more people who might want to know about that and to hear about that. And if you find this video on my YouTube channel, please subscribe for more content like this. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.